So I've been going through this process. It's called high impact testing, and I learned it from a company called Mint CRO. And essentially, what we're doing is we're putting up little one sentence Facebook ads, and the sentence is basically it's a statement of pain that they may or may not have. So an example of that would be, I feel overwhelmed because I'm doing everything myself. So that statement may or may not resonate with a lot of people. And in this case, it massively resonated with a lot of people. I got high click-through rates and I had really low costs per click, which was great. So I knew that was the beginning of a story that with further tests, I could flush out that story. And while I don't know necessarily, the age and the income and the typical demographic stuff of the people that are clicking on that, I know the problems they have. I know what they're concerned about and I know what they're interested in. And then that allows me to further craft my message and ultimately then content that will speak to the problem that particular persona is having.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great insight. I have one of my good friends and biggest inspirations in the marketing world is a guy named Andrew Davis, and he calls that the moment of inspiration. Mm-hmm. He was on a kick for a while of busting people's terrible case studies because they often focus too much on why a company chose another company's software or product or service. And his criticism was, get to the why behind that. What was the moment of inspiration that led them to a journey that ultimately led them to choose your service? And it's the pain that you're talking about. I feel like I'm doing too much myself. I mean, I find, we talked about this, I think earlier, agency owners are like the cobbler's children that have no shoes, right? They're all doing great work, but they're not reflecting that great work on their own websites. And so we have a few agency clients where we help them do that. And, one of the great ways to do that is founding stories. I love to ask agency owners, why did you start your agency in the first place? And, sometimes you get a funny personal story. Sometimes you get a, painful career journey, but a lot of times it's just the right combination of an opportunistic sort of experience meeting with a need. And there's just great story there. And so, that's my advice to agency owners is tell your founding story at least on your website before you do anything else.
So let's kick back to the idea of using content to gain further insights into your potential target audience, and then some of the strategies and the tactics that should be used kind of in a chronological order to build momentum, build traffic, start to generate leads.
Yeah. So we sort of very scientifically start with a foundation based on SEO. And the way, back to sort of the mom analogy, the way I explained this to my mom when she asked, what do you do? And I'm like, well, there's this company Flowster, and they want to show up first when agency owners type in, challenge A, B, and C. Yeah. And so we create the kind of content that helps them to show up first, not because of a paid ad, but because they created content that helps. So ultimately, it's a search engine game. Most people, whether you're in marketing or not, almost every business owner I know can relate to, hey, do you show up first for the biggest search term in your industry? It was the way that I was able to sell content marketing in at SAP. I went to the sales team. The marketing folks were stuck in the traditional world of advertising. And I went to the sales team. And I said, hey, we sell cloud computing software, but SAP shows up on page 22. No one's finding us when they search for what the hell is cloud computing. And so, I was given a budget to go create that content because the sales team understood the value of showing up first for SERP. So that's the first step, is identifying what are those keywords that people are using. But then we need to find, what's an actual winnable situation. And there's a lot of art and science to this part, but we look at competitors, we look at trade publications. I'll bust another myth. Every industry, every company is fighting in a competitive space. It's amazing to me. 100% of our clients say, now listen, I'm in a really competitive space. I'm like, well, do you know any that aren't? Because if you know one, then let's all go build a business there, because we're all in competitive spaces. The challenge is finding where there's a conversation happening, but too many folks are trying to promote or trying to persuade or trying to sell. Let's go try to help. And let's figure out what those keywords are, those conversations are that we have a point of view in. So from there, we basically start, hand it over to our writing team. So we start with a list of about 50 keywords that we think, let's say Flowster could, you could rank for relative to your competition.
Let me interrupt though.
Yeah.
Let's dive a little deeper. Yeah. How do you determine, because there's lots of keywords, especially for a company like Flowster, lots and lots and lots. What are some of the ways that you are coming up with that short list of 50?
So we go big and then we go small, is pretty simply. So we build the universe of keywords that are important. We scrape our clients' websites just to kind of get like a heat map, and then from that heat map we build, and the competitive landscape, we build out the universe, and the universe is going to look like 50, 60,000 keywords. But then we start to whittle it down. One of my favorite tricks to this, if you have any SEO sort of PPC folks out there that are into this kind of stuff. I like to rank keywords not on volume, which a lot of people look at, or keyword density or competitiveness. A lot of the old school folks would do that. I like to look at the CPC for keywords and rank from high to low. So for example, I'm a content marketing agency. The CPC for content marketing agencies is pretty high, because content marketing agencies, content marketing agencies are spending that money because that keyword converts. I like to use that as a proxy for return on investment. So that's just one of the ways. Competitiveness is another. If you rank on page 2, 3, or 4, the chances that I can get you onto page 1 are pretty high. So we'll look at that. So we're looking at value of the keyword in and of itself, potential to provide accelerated growth, low-hanging fruit, essentially. And then we look at buyer intent. What is it? What are the main pain points and challenges that your audience, and this is a lot of the art part, is we try to infer buyer intent. What is the moment of inspiration for one of your buyers? And case studies are really helpful for that if they're done well, to really pull out those threads of pain in a way that we can relate to your audience. So that's how we kind of build out a list of, a lot of times we'll hear from clients like, hey, this isn't the list I would have built. I'm like, that's because we used all of those factors, competitiveness, ability to rank, value. And so it often looks a lot different than most founders think.
So when you get to your collection of, say, 50 keywords, are these all top of funnel keywords? Are they bottom of funnel keywords? Are they roughly spread around the funnel? How do you determine the strategy for where to create the content first?
Yeah, most of the keywords I would say straddle the funnel, if you will. So there'd be some short tail, like for me, it'd be content marketing. Long tail for me, it'd be like, how much does a blog post cost? Which is an article I just refreshed a couple of weeks ago. So we do a mix of all levels. But the gap that we see in every single company is in the top of the funnel. Almost every company ranks for their own name, for example, sure, but doesn't rank for the category name of the whatever category they're in, competing in. They don't rank number 1 for.
That'd be us. I'm
good for you. Yeah.
I don't rank number 1.
Oh, you don't rank.
Exactly. I wish I did.
Exactly. So, that's kind of we find that the things that most companies do rank for are irrelevant because no one's searching for them except the folks that already know them. So getting you to rank for the short tail keywords is important, but those are also the highest, most competitive, sort of areas. So it's a combination. It's a healthy balance, but the content that we then suggest for our clients largely focuses top of funnel to try to move up the rankings in those important category keywords.
And what are the things, Google is continually changing their algorithm. They're never explaining any of the changes to anyone, and it's left to the community to infer what the signals are. And, there's been a lot of talk in the last year or two about on-page signals, but I know from our own experiments that links still matter like crazy. So when you have a client that you're working with and you're looking at, hey, I see you're on page 3, page 4, page 5. Is it really just going and building links to those articles that's going to move them to page 1? Or do you find that oftentimes you can achieve the same outcome simply by working predominantly on-page signals? In other words, better content.
Yeah, one thing to another. And so it the first iteration of Google's algorithm was, links are votes on content. What Google, they just came out actually with, for the first time, the algorithm is ignoring what they consider spammy links. So what they admitted in the update was that all links have value. Spammy links now have zero value, but they used to have a little value. So what that means is then if, the Wall Street Journal or New York Times links to you, they're giving that a lot of weight. If spammywebsite.com links to you, they're giving it now zero weight. But before this update, it was getting a weight, it was getting some relative value. So quality content on site is still the number one thing. Earning external links from high domain authority and relevant websites is I think really important. So we don't really do paid linking at all for our clients. We do some natural guest posting because we know that can help, but I don't see the ROI in it. One link from a great site's not going to take you from page 2 to page 1. 10 articles published once a month on a topic can get you up on page 1.